You want to do the intro?
Are we go live?
Oh yeah, we've been recording for 5 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sup, everyone. Welcome to the podcast where we talk about games. I am your co-host, Red Barrel for the win, and
Dude, you're a
he's
host.
that guy.
You're a host. Come on. You're just as important as myself. You were there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, host Red and
I
host
I
Zeph.
I am an eternally existing being. I am there forever.
Yeah, you are the host of everything.
I am the I yes, that is true. In fact, I did create the universe. Welcome to my universe.
I was watching 1970s Jeopardy and there was Red.
Yep. Just hanging
Um
out, just chilling.
so we played Oblivion.
Why
Uh
did we play Oblivion?
Oh boy. So should I start with my negative or should I start with my positive? Or should you
Just
go?
just walk yourself through your
Okay.
experience.
Okay, I'll give everybody the like abstract of the situation. So, I started playing Oblivion at 6 in the morning with the intention of doing a complete playthrough by 6 p.m. That is 12-hour stream. And well, it was a problem right from the start. So, I have a pretty modern computer. I have a Ryzen 5800X and a 3080. I have 64 gigabytes of RAM. And I decided not to mod Oblivion with all of the publicly made patches.
Fucking genius idea.
So here I am having probably the worst experience you could possibly have with Oblivion today,
On
where
the best hardware ever, mind you.
right, I stupid money out to just have good hardware, and then I realize, oh, old games don't like modern hardware. Duh. So you know what an overflow is, right?
Yeah.
So when you have RAM speeds as fast as I do, and you have a graphics card as fast as I do, and a CPU as fast as I do, you get a lot of overflows because something will zero out or null out and then just continuously run the same prompt and you will never know because you will not lose any FPS, nothing.
And an engine like the Creation Kit, which is based on Gamebryo, is terrible at that. It has such a strange memory management.
So here I am just running around as a Nord trying to break the game and, get my strength through the roof, blah, blah, blah. Well, it kept overflowing on my stats, which means at level 10, I was level 1. I got vampirism, which could not be removed from the game. I was just 100% stuck with it. And then because I had to use the command console to remove it, because I did get it correctly, it bugged out the entire game and completely stopped me from progressing anywhere. So, 9 hours into a stream, and Ian cannot finish Oblivion.
You really hate to see it, honestly.
I love Oblivion so much. And one of the most exciting things coming out of that stream was Microsoft owns it now, which means just like the Fallout treatment, which Fallout 3 now runs on PC 100%, Fallout New Vegas got updated. Um, there are new Easter eggs in Fallout 3, like the Fallout 76 Easter egg in 3, etc. We could hopefully see Elder Scrolls getting a good update.
Yeah, that's a big hope. Oblivion is a big hope. But then again, they did like remaster Quake and release an entirely new DLC for it 22 years later. So
Yeah,
anything is possible.
but you're still playing Oblivion, right?
I am. I am having an extremely casual experience with Oblivion. I picked it up a few days earlier than you. Every time I start Oblivion, does not matter what I'm playing it on, since the beginning of time, install the unofficial Oblivion patch, install the 4 GB patcher for my RAM, and these days, the graphics extender doesn't exist anymore, so like Oblivion Reloaded is a good way to go.
I'll have
And
to,
these things all in tandem really contribute to the optimization in the engine. Like they're just the unofficial Oblivion patch is a clutch item. You need it to play
item.
to play and have a good experience. I played as Shit the Argonian. Yes, that is my name.
I was trying to play like a genuine Nord who traveled to Oblivion and was just this big muscular hero. I
I
wanted I wanted the secret dialogue. And I got some of it. Like I got some of the secret Nord dialogue.
You think the Nord dialogue, have you ever played as an Argonian? Everyone is racist.
Everybody is racist. And same thing with Khajiit. Everybody's like, don't steal nothing.
Yeah. I didn't understand, I get it, like, they're not in but that's like and it seems like anything you play that's not an Imperial in-game or a Breton or a Nord has really racist language toward it. Nobody likes the elves for some reason, right? And they by this point, the Thalmor haven't even totally overthrown the Empire yet, so it's not like it matters.
Well, there's a lot of like okay, if we're gonna talk about the lore real quick. The lore of Elder Scrolls is extremely deep. It is also very unofficial and makes no sense.
Yeah.
They contradict themselves constantly in the lore. But
The
man,
great thing about a game like Oblivion or Skyrim or Morrowind and its lore, though, is how many things carry over directly. Like the books of Baranzaya or Guide to the Empire or stuff like the Lusty Argonian Maid is a pretty funny one.
it's like yeah, like a lot of the books in game make sense. But even then, like if you try to follow along with like ESO and like some of the lore and some of their other titles like Daggerfall,
Oh, good luck.
Arena, yeah, good luck. Like there are contradictions literally everywhere. They have changed writers a billion times. There's so many writers for Elder Scrolls. The lore is beautiful. It's well written. Um, don't expect it to make sense.
No, not even a little bit. If you want sensical lore from Bethesda titles, play Fallout. The lore is pretty fucking good.
As soon as Microsoft was acquisition Bethesda, it was like, we're gonna fix all of the lore issues that you have. This is a problem that needs to be resolved.
And it needs to fit in with their own, they have Doom now and they want to put that together. They've got Halo to mix with these things. They have their own already pre-existing universes from the titles they own. The indie game titles they own and the regular titles they work on. There's Destiny after the
Ugh.
Activision fucking acquisition goes through.
Oh, I'm so hype! I can't wait for Destiny because they're actually gonna return to like storytelling and stuff like that from Destiny One, which was like the best part.
They can't tell a story without having Halo as its basis. Otherwise, there is no story.
Oh yeah, and the idea that like Microsoft now might be able to like merge the Halo universe and the Destiny universe going to be really exciting because they really wanted to do that with the last update from Destiny 2, where we saw some of the Spartan armor being repurposed. Um,
Yeah.
and it was really cool to see that. But anyways, this is about Oblivion, not Halo and Destiny.
Yeah. And Oblivion by itself as a game, like if the raw experience, the raw Oblivion gameplay today is dated.
Well, I would say all Elder Scrolls are dated. Even like
Um,
Skyrim feels dated.
Skyrim is dated, but it also still feels and looks really good, all things considered. It's something you can go back to and be like, yeah, at least it's not chop, chop, swing, chop as fast as you possibly can. Have you seen the sword play in Oblivion?
Yeah, there's definitely a
It's
deeper swordplay. But I mean, I guess that also comes down to like your difficulty you're playing on. But Oblivion had this like huge flaw of like your stats mattering way too much to the damage output and things like that. So some of the battles just feel really, really, really tedious.
to me, somebody who played Morrowind first, not all that big a problem.
Yeah, Daggerfall was my first game.
I looked at Morrowind's stats and the way that leveling was handled there. And then when I played Oblivion for the first time, I was like, whoa, this is so much better.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. You're 100% right. Oblivion's a little bit harder to break in terms of just like casual playing.
Yeah, there aren't many serious bugs anywhere.
I mean, really, all there really is like the mage cheese. If you're a fighter, you join the Fighters Guild and you can just steal everything from the Fighters Guild. They just let you
Very,
take everything.
very, very fun exploit if you're somebody who likes to play around with stuff. Get the Wizard's Tower expansion for Oblivion.
Oh yeah,
Save your game standing in the lobby. Turn off the expansion so that none of that data can load, and then load the save file inside of the Wizard's Tower. You'll pop up in the beta testing area of Oblivion. The little
very
beta
fun.
cabins and they're, yeah, very fun, very interesting to look at. One of the few exploits in game I can think of where like that's a genuine exploit that never got fixed and you can really abuse the shit out of it.
I have one. If you ever want to play Oblivion and just be fast as fuck, boy, make a high elf, make him as tall as you can, and then just
Drink
max out
all
your
of the
speed.
skooma.
Max out your speed, max out your athletics, max out your everything that like reduces damage, blah blah blah,
Drink
and
all of the skooma.
drop everything so have no carry weight and just run. You can go so fast. A skooma, make your own potions that increase your speed, and you could just literally fly through the map. It's so
I'm
fun.
a big fan. I've been playing around with the alchemy system a lot. Didn't know you could mix so many different effects into one thing.
Oh yeah,
Well, I have a few potions that do 1 second of fire damage in exchange for 30 seconds of fire resistance.
that's not bad.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, the default like alchemy stuff is really good. It's when you get into like the end game stuff when you can really get to explore the depth of
Oh
mage
yeah.
creation, like some of the scrolls, like when you can I believe there's an ability where you can permanently learn one scroll or something a day. And there's some pretty cheesy scrolls that you can find that break some of
The
the mage
introduction of
classes.
um the introduction of spell tomes back in the day was a huge deal for Oblivion.
Yeah. That was super cool. I loved going to the Mages Guild and finding the books that are hidden on the shelves that help teach you spells and stuff. I always thought that was super cool.
Yeah. Um you didn't play through it. You didn't play through either of them. They don't get talked about a lot. Let me talk for a second just from my personal experience about the Shivering Isles and Knights of the Nine
I
as they
love
are.
them.
The Shivering Isles is a great DLC. Does
Mm-hmm.
not matter. It could have been for any of them and it would have been a great DLC. Knights of the Nine is weird. If
Super
you've
weird.
never if you've never played, well, any Elder Scrolls before and you want to know exactly how the empire began, it's a good place to go.
What also makes the Knights of the Nine is or super weird, as rather is that's kind of where you learn that the gods in the Dremora are like entities from literal different dimensions and they're like alien foreigners and you're not really fighting demons, you're fighting like aliens. That's so bizarre.
Yeah, it's really weird.
I think that's where like Witcher probably got their influence with the three spheres and the calamity. Is that what they call it in Witcher? But like
Yeah.
in The Witcher, you as like a human or an elf or whatever, you're not from that realm. That's what a lot of people don't seem to understand is like this isn't your home planet. Like you are intrusive into a different world. Super interesting storytelling. I like the Witcher lore a lot. I just don't like the Witcher.
I was prepared to buy The Witcher 1 and 2 for Chris because they're on sale for like $1 during the autumn sale and he's never played them.
They're worth it. I mean, especially if you're just exploring the lore, I would play The Witcher. Like if you're interested in something like Elder Scrolls and you want to start off with this easier franchise, Witcher is a great start. Stay away from
Yeah.
Dragon Age.
Don't play any of the Dragon Age games.
Yeah, they're not good. I mean, they're not horrible. They're playable, but they're not good. I don't know, man. Like I'm like looking at Oblivion now from 2022 perspective, I can see its flaws, but I have those rose tinted glasses I cannot remove. It was the most influential RPG of my life, which is saying a lot.
Yeah. And it's a good thing though, right? It was one of the most influential games of all time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like when people say they've never played Oblivion, I don't understand how they miss such an amazing game. Like it's on everything. It's on PC. It's on Xbox 360. It's was it ported to Xbox One? Or
You can just play the Xbox 360 version on Xbox One. It's on Game Pass. If you've
oh,
never played Oblivion and you have Game Pass, fucking go play Oblivion. It's a good time.
even if you're just like dicking around and you want to just
Yeah.
like cheat the whole time, like
You don't
doesn't
have
matter.
to do anything. So my favorite way to play Oblivion is to never do the main story because there is literally no point to it. There's so much other shit you can do immediately walking out of the sewer that is so much more interesting. Have a
Well,
fucking adventure. It's an RPG at its core. You are thrown into a world playing the role of you.
and not only that, but like if you want to just play the main story, it's not like your character just ends. Like nothing really changes. You save the kingdom per se by locking
Yeah.
away what's his name? I don't
The
want to.
only thing that changes is that Oblivion gates stop popping up.
Yeah, that's it. Which I mean, do you really need Oblivion gates popping up to have a good time?
No, you don't. Sigil stones are good for enchanting and shit, but like they only have a select few. They're not great everywhere.
And dark magic just isn't all that powerful because your characters and the selection, nobody focuses in dark magic.
No, yeah,
Destruction magic, yeah. High elves or dark elves, destruction magic, absolutely. But dark elves are not designated destruction magic. They're also really good with a blade. They're also really good archers because they're a race that has been at war since they've been found. Like they've had to train in everything, so their skills are. There's so much lore and specialty to Oblivion that we can get into, but go play it because it's so good.
yeah. Just fucking play it. That is the best way to talk about Oblivion is to not talk about it. It's big. It's massive. It's so fucking massive that if you tried to talk about it, you would get lost.
Oh, I even just in the conversation that we're trying to have, it's hard not to, point at the Dark Brotherhood. It's hard not to talk about the vampirism cults, the werewolf stuff, like the modding community. It's difficult because there is just an overflow of content.
Yeah. There's there's so much content that even all these years later, I was saying to you when I first started, all these years later, I'm still finding things and seeing things I've never seen before.
In my last 3 playthroughs, I could not find the OG arena that I used to play in on my old account on my Xbox 360. There's an arena somewhere. I don't know where, but you can participate in it and it's super
It's in
fun.
Imperial City.
Oh, it's so fun.
There's a whole district to it. It's right behind the palace.
Oh, so good. So good.
Very good.
And I don't know about you, but I played Fallout, sorry. Oblivion around the same time I was playing Fable. I know Fable's older. And
Didn't ever play Fable when I was younger, only when I got older.
Fable has its issues. It's still one of my favorite games of all times. Uh, Again, an influential RPG, but I always look back on like Fable and Oblivion with so much love because there was so much care to those games. Like this was a generation where developers really wanted to put their heart and their souls into the games that they were making, and it really paid off and showed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They knew exactly what they were doing, how they wanted to do it, and it worked.
And I think that's my core issue with Skyrim. Really, is like as massive as Skyrim is, and as much as there is to do, it's a lot of looping quests. So like you'll just keep trying to work with one, group, and then it takes time, but then you'll realize what you're doing is almost meaningless. And it does exist in Oblivion. Like there are infinite mission side quests, but they repeat you kind of get the, oh, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again kind of feel.
Yeah.
But it's not MMO feel where MMOs are like, go to this town, get this item, bring it back to me, then go to this town, get this item, and it's just constantly that. Fetch quests are really annoying. Oblivion will respawn enemies, make them higher difficulty, do different bosses and things like that. And that's one of the things that makes Oblivion really special is there's just like a really large amount of dungeon quote unquote exploration.
The Ayleid ruins, the caves, the fortresses, the amount of quests that you find in them, the places that you return to, the differences between them, the interactable items in the world that make the quests different. If you've ever been through the Thieves Guild, at the very end, the quest where you have to shoot the arrow into the keyhole, really strange moments like that that give it this sense of genuine adventure.
Yeah, like you're living in a fleshed out world.
Yeah. There is a lot of world to Oblivion.
What happened during my most recent playthrough is I went and I took over the castle. After you get Joffrey, you can continue north, and there's a castle that you can own. And there's a guy there who will follow you around. He's your butler and your knight, blah blah blah. Well, we went into an Oblivion gate at Bruma, and he died. And I was like genuinely upset that he died. I was like, this sucks. I have nobody to defend my home. My follower's dead. The world has gone to shit. I'm under leveled. I'm poor.
Yeah. You were having a pretty fucking rough Oblivion experience outside of the bugs. Inside, you were just having a very, very rough experience.
And it was the first time that's ever happened to me where, my magic skills, I was trying to do a low magic skill playthrough as a Nord, and it's very difficult, but that adds more to the lore. Like, why do the Nords focus in potion creation and stuff like that? It's because they're not magic users. That's not their
all
talent.
all of my original Oblivion playthroughs on the Xbox 360 were Nord and Breton, because they just had things to them that were unique to the game. Now that I'm older and I'm playing through, I'm starting to realize that, like, in certain areas, there's just abstract lore for everyone. I went to Black Marsh with my Argonian this
Ooh.
playthrough and stumbled on the Cave of Tribals, and they still attack, but now they attack with dialogue.
Yup.
It
Yeah.
was weird
Oh,
walking around Black Marsh not getting insulted for not being an Argonian, you know?
it's 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 wild because you have all these people who are playing like the Elder Scrolls Online currently, and they just don't understand that that game is during a time of peace with a lot of
Yeah.
the nations. I mean, you had the Khajiit being segregated, blah blah blah, but a lot of like the gods were the same gods. A lot of people were praying to the same entities. A lot of people were sharing knowledge and things like that. You didn't have the same events that, tore apart all of these different factions.
Yeah, and that's a huge problem. Um, the war story in Skyrim was taken straight out of Fallout New Vegas, and they had no clue what they were doing with it because it just wasn't the same. I get it. Two factions are warring for this thing, and then there's also the main story. So the war story is a side story and whatever. Should have had more factions. If the world was really at war the way they were trying to give it out, like if every border was shut down like Skyrim like that, and the Empire was just overthrowing kingdoms at the time, why the hell weren't more factions involved in this? Why wasn't there more differential option?
Another thing, another big complaint I have for Skyrim is if you've ever played, like there, can't remember Darkness Horizon, Dragon's Dogma. There we go. I got it. When you're running around the open world, you will come across like straight up battles between soldiers. Like there are actual battles being waged in the open fields. And
I
I would have loved to see that in Skyrim. Like we are going to lead an assault and there's hundreds of soldiers against hundreds of soldiers.
I also would have liked to see brawls return. I don't think I've ever had a fist fight in Skyrim in the middle of the street like you do in Oblivion.
Oh yeah. Just running around unarmed and getting into conflicts is super fun.
Yeah.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, in Oblivion, if you don't, I forget how to initiate the fight, but like it's uh, it's a vocal agreement. What is that called? Where two people are allowed to fight?
Pugilism.
No, that's boxing. I'm talking.
Sanctioned.
No, there are certain states in America, certain towns, where if two people um, agree to a fight, the police cannot intervene unless somebody is getting deathly hurt. That is an actual thing, and they use that in Oblivion, and it's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It was one of those things that added a layer of depth to it that it really needed.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a guy who has a book that you need. We don't need to name the book if you don't know the game. And I'm pretty sure you could just like beat the shit out of him in the middle of the street and he'll give you the book. Like, oh, like mechanics. I'm an unarmed player. I'm gonna go beat the shit out of this dude who has the item I need, and he's gonna give it to me and not die.
You build an ultimate melee build, you can just like one punch man your way through the entirety of Oblivion.
It's so good.
A melee a melee acrobat build. So you can jump and punch everything in Oblivion.
Orc acrobat melee build.
Yeah, you
The most
punch a guy,
terrifying.
beat a guy, jump over a guy, and beat another guy, and it's so satisfying.
The thing about Oblivion is like I don't know if you feel this way. The combat is just bad. There's
Bad.
very limited animations. It's very
I've
unstylized in that
started
regard.
That's kind of why I've started using magic actually, because a lot of the magic I'm finding is way more interesting.
Oh yeah, magic builds are super cool.
I would I really want to test myself, put myself up on and see how my Oblivion skill is. Do a 75% difficulty conjurer build.
Ooh, that would
Yeah.
be really fun.
Yeah, that would be really hard.
Like you'd have to focus in illusion, conjuration, and restoration. Because
Yep.
you'd have to be able to make yourself invisible and stuff like that too, and just like continuously just make skeletons.
Yeah.
That'd be
Fucking
super
raise
cool.
scam skeletons and you can raise the astronauts and shit. Like using the monsters to fight for you sounds like a super interesting way to handle a game I've played through 100 times.
Especially with the DLC and you getting access to the Witch Tower, being able to teleport into the Mage Guild and things like
Yeah.
that would make that
I've done
playthrough a
plenty
lot
of
of fun.
on my Nintendo Switch right now, I'm doing an all restoration and destruction magic high elf because that's
Very cool.
just yeah. I've never played through Skyrim like that. It feels like the right way to go. On my Switch, it's just the easiest way to go.
So, okay, it's 2022. It's been, God, 18 years, something like that. It's been a long time. What is your rating for Oblivion nowadays? Just
Not as a game of its time, just as a game now as it is.
yeah,
Easy 7.
7?
Yeah, easy 7.
What?
Doesn't matter how good it looks or if the combat is perfect because there's so much clear effort in the game that if a small double A studio like they would have been at the time they made it were to make Oblivion now, it would be just right.
So the next Elder Scrolls is going to be perfect.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know. Um, Now with mods, does your score go up? Like if you were to do the
Oh
unofficial
yeah.
patches?
Oh yeah, you burn through the patches in Oblivion, do all of the texture overhauls, mesh overhauls, model overhauls, and the water overhaul, man, you can really make it a pretty modern game. There are the combat fixes that give it Skyrim-like combat that really bring it up to date a little bit. There's all kinds of camera fixes and there's the alternate start, which is a huge advantage to players who've played through the prison segment 1,000 times and don't want to do that. I would I would honestly say like a heavily modded Oblivion is infinitely better than a regular Oblivion, easily a 9 out of 10.
I was gonna say my regular score for Oblivion, like if you were to play on an Xbox 360 today, would be like an 8 out of 10. It's still up there as one of the best RPGs ever. But once you get it on PC and you start modding it, it goes to a 10 out of 10. Like the game is just infinitely better. It's so fun.
We
You can get
we
lost
shit on
for
Gamebryo a lot.
hours.
We shit on Gamebryo a lot, and we make fun of Creation Engine and the Fallout engine a lot, and it's whatever because it's not the greatest engine in the world, but the one thing it has always done better than any other is mod support. All of the Elder Scrolls games, all of the Fallout games from Bethesda have incredible mod support, and it's unrivaled anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
You won't find games with more mods. Maybe San Andreas because of how dedicated the following is.
Yeah,
And
but we
even
all know
then,
about
they
that.
don't have enough mods.
San Andreas, all the mods got taken down by Rockstar.
Ugh, fucking dickholes.
Right. Fuck Rockstar right now. Big F you to Rockstar, everybody. Um, yeah, but you're 100% right. Like, sadly, or not sadly, what makes Oblivion great is not its mechanics. It's the writing, it's the pacing, it's the world. It's just very well put together.
Yeah. It doesn't need to have perfect combat or perfect gameplay to be a great game. It just does the things that it tries the hardest to do correctly. And that's what makes the difference for me.
So at the beginning of this episode, I was mentioning how terrible my playthrough was. But you want to know how I walked away from it?
Yeah.
I had fun.
Oh, yeah. You
Even
looked like you had fun. You sounded like it.
I was having a blast, dude. Like I had never experienced Oblivion that buggy before, so it was really cool to just see what in the world was going on and why was it broken. I wanted to know why it was doing the things it was doing because sure, the game is old and the engine is bad, not great, but everything was falling apart and it was kind of cool just to see this entire empire in ruin and I couldn't save the day and it was like giving me these ideas of like I can't save the world. I was destined to save the world, but right now I'm not. Like everything is just it's just interesting to view it from that perspective.
Yeah. Uh, I told you before you went into it, I told you how my experience was going, and I told you it doesn't matter how many times you play Oblivion, you'll always have a new experience.
Oh yeah. Like I can completely guess and I know exactly what's gonna happen with the main story. But then like something random will happen. Like I was on my way to give Joffrey the amulet of the kings, and the Black Steed news people came up to me, and that has never happened before. And I got the
The
letter and
Jeffrey
everything.
edition of the Black Horse Courier.
Right. And I was like, huh, I played this game so many times and this has never happened.
I love it when you become the Gray Fox at the end of the Thieves Guild and they start writing about you. It's really interesting bits of lore.
Just I can't say it enough. Like if you have played Oblivion, even if you only have like 30 hours, you have not played Oblivion. Oblivion is
You
one of those
haven't.
games that you need to put like 300 hours in.
Yeah. And then you need to hope to hell the game doesn't kill itself and go. You remember in the early days when Oblivion, when you would hit a certain few hundred hours, it would totally freeze. All of the animations would stop. Everything would fucking go nuts.
So Cyberpunk or Forza today.
Way worse. Like I'm talking about like NPCs freezing in place, looping the same dialogue, stacking that dialogue over and over. Uh Magic animations freezing and then getting bigger in size, you know?
when I was
It
playing
was a wild experience.
when I was playing aggressive inline, because of the looping issues that my PC has. And this is just normally a like hyper threading issue. If people don't know, this is just a regular tech issue. It's not a programming issue. Nothing. In aggressive inline, the audio tracks would just continuously repeat because it was too fast. They would talk
Paraphrase
really
Gabe
fast.
Newell. To paraphrase Gabe Newell, this is shit. I've never written a single line of multi-threaded code in my life.
Oh man. But yeah, that's that's it. Do you have any closing statements?
Outside of what we said, no, go play Oblivion. If you haven't, if you've never heard of it, if you've played it for hundreds of hours already, if you've played it for 5 minutes, go play Oblivion.
Yeah, it's easily up there as one of the greatest games of all time, and it should go down that way. I'm gonna repeat his sentiment. If you haven't or have only played a little bit of it, go play it. Go play a lot of it. It's so worth it. There's emotional segments. There's parts that'll make you really question your moral choices and things like that. It really is written to be a game of modern generation caliber. It's really good. If you have a PC, mod the shit out of it. Um, just try to stay true to Oblivion and the world of Elder Scrolls with your item selection and your mod selection. That's it.
Yep. Do you mind if I take us out?
Oh, you're good.
We hope you enjoyed your time with us on the podcast. Thank you, and have a nice day.
I love you.